to Jack back here. My voice is still a little bit dead. If you watched my last video, you would understand why. But I'm going to be as loud as I can for you guys, and just wanted to do a little video since tomorrow is, as you all know, Election Day. I wanted to go through something that I don't think a lot of people do. A lot of times in this election, you've heard a lot about the smear campaign between, Hillary and Trump. But what doesn't get talked about between all the candidates is the issues and what they care about. And I wanted to do that for you guys because I think that's very important since you are going to be going to that booth tomorrow. So I'm just going to start off with each person and go through each topic. So most of this research I did came from On the Issues. You can find a lot of candidates, including President Obama, everybody in the Senate. You can find a lot of people there. If you truly want to know what their views are on all the issues, I would recommend going there. I also got some stuff from other sources though, like Open Secrets. So just so you guys know, I did do my research on this. So let me go ahead and just start off here. So I'm going to start off with Hillary Clinton, and we're going to go through those. So what is she with liberals on? She is a very strong advocate for abortion. So liberals are with her on that. She is now for gay marriage and same-sex partnerships. However, she wasn't for it until 2012, and that's a key thing, is that she wasn't for a lot of things when it came to liberals until later on in her career as a politician. She's actually for the death penalty. You won't find a lot of liberals out there that are for that. Majority of the country is for the death penalty, but liberals have historically been against it. She opposes three-strike laws. However, she opposes it and then she's for it. So for example, she had once mandatory sentences. She believes that they have been used too widely, but at the same time she supports citizen patrols and three strikes are out laws. And she wants to end hate crimes and other intolerance, but she supports three strikes and more prisons. So very inconsistent with her ideology on that. She strongly opposes the absolute right to gun ownership. Again, liberals usually are for gun control, but some are against it. It's kind of, some are for it, some are against it. If I keep going along here, she is for more funding for health coverage. Again, she's kind of back and forth on that, though. She believes some states should be able to choose, but she believes that also at the same time we should take progress on health care. She believes Obamacare is a very good thing. She is against privatizing Social Security, so she is with the liberals on that. Let's see, she is for replacing coal and oil with alternatives, opposes drug use being immoral. However, she has said reschedule marijuana and not legalize it, only reschedule. So we can't trust that she is going to actually do something that is systemic change on that issue of the war on drugs. She is not the right candidate for that, I don't think. She favors making taxes more progressive. She is favor of illegal immigrants earning citizenship. She opposes supporting free trade. However, at the same time, her husband signed and passed NAFTA. She has openly come out for the TPP. So, again, inconsistency on that. She's a very inconsistent politician, and that is something that definitely I think has worried a lot of people. She's very corrupt, and I think that we've been able to figure that out with everything that has gone on. She is neutral on expanding the armed forces. She believes that there's no safe haven for the terrorists. She has said that. She's rated 100% by SANE, which is a nuclear policy. Advocates indicating a pro-peace voting record. But she also believes our troops are stretched, so increase the size of military. So again, inconsistent when it comes to expanding the armed forces. And also when it comes to U.S. staying out of Iraq. She voted for Iraq in 2002. And she voted in no on redeploying troops out of Iraq by July 2007. So she's very I think she's very hawkish on her foreign policy. And that is something that has worried a lot of liberals, and it should. I mean, it's very, very dangerous to have her as a president in the age we have right now with ISIS, everything. I believe it, in my opinion. Here's the one that I laugh at the most. She is in favor of stricter limits on political campaign funds. Really? Well, according to Open Secrets, she has raised from large individual contributions alone $266,754,000. That's where 54% of her money has come from this election cycle. So, to be fair, Trump has raised a lot of money from PACs as well, but that's complete. She's not going to do anything on the issue of campaign finance. She's completely for it. It's helped her the entire campaign. She is in favor of the Patriot Act. She voted for it in 2002. Yes, on reauthorizing it in 2006. Completely unconstitutional. Completely against civil liberties and the Fourth Amendment. So that is pretty much Hillary Clinton for you. An inconsistent politician that liberals should really take a harder look at. Those are the issues for her right there. Now, let me go ahead and get into Donald Trump for you guys. Now, he is neutral on the issue of abortion. He believes that it is not acceptable to rip the baby from the womb in the 9th month, which nobody should believe in as it is. Let's be honest with that. Wants to overturn Roe versus Wade, wants to defund Planned Parenthood, but also believes that it's important. Undecided on embryonic stem cell research. He is now pro-life after years of being pro-choice. So again, very hypocritical on that issue. He is comfortable with same-sex marriage, and he believes that the Confederate flag should be taken out of the state houses and be put in museums. Believes that sexual orientation is an invalid reason for firing workers. So he's actually with a lot of liberals on that issue, and he is less conservative on that. He opposes expanding Obamacare, wants to redraw state lines for health care, believes that Obamacare collapses under its own weight if we don't repeal it. He is in favor of stricter punishment. He believes that reduces crime. This is great. Believes stop and frisk worked very well in New York City. However, it actually had a 90% failure rate in 2012, and that's according to the New York Civil Liberties Union. Very, very fascist on this issue here. Considers stop and frisk useful, tremendous beyond belief. Believes police are the most mistreated people in America. Of course, not black people or anybody that gets killed by them. Black Lives Matter, but we need strong police presence as well. Again, that strong police presence is what made the movement what it is today. Capital punishment isn't uncivilized, murderers living is. Hold judges accountable and don't reduce sentences. So yeah, very, very fascist on that issue. Favors absolute right to gun ownership, which is great. The only things he opposes on that issue is he doesn't want guns for people on a terrorist watch list. In fact, I actually myself even disagree with that. I think that the terrorist watch list has many problems with it, and I will get later on to candidates who believe, in the same idea that I do. Believes, we need to address mental health. So I think that's reasonable. Overall, I think that the terrorist watch list is wrong, but I think overall he does a pretty good job on that issue. In terms of being conservative. Opposes higher taxes on the wealthy. Well, he didn't pay his taxes that's why though he doesn't pay his taxes. He is wealthy. He paid income taxes for only 3 years out of 5 in the 70s. Within that span. So obviously he's going to oppose it. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. I think as it is, I'm against higher taxes as it is, but he does it for all the wrong reasons. Opposes, obviously, as you know, opposes pathway to citizenship for illegals. Wants illegals put in prison if they come back after we deport them. Obviously wants to build the wall. He said himself he's taken advantage of H-1B visas, but he still wants to stop them because, the workers have paid his, built his buildings and stuff like that. He's basically used them. He's said we have bad hombres here and we need to get rid of them. Amnesty is unfair to people waiting in line for years, so very against that issue. Opposes free trade, even though his ties are made in China. He believes, and don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily the biggest one for free trade. I think a lot of the trade deals we've had have been complete failures. Doesn't mean I'm against it in general in practice, but definitely the PPP and NAFTA have some things to look at. He believes the TPP is a horrible deal and nobody has read its 5,600 pages. He believes NAFTA was the worst trade deal ever and the TPP is a close second. Thinks we need to have a 20% tax on all imported goods and a 35% import tax on the Mexican border. He favors supporting American exceptionalism. He wants to replace a Muslim ban with an extreme vetting of Muslims, which we already have. respectively check Moss, but we have to look at profiling. Again, that's very, very fascist thing to do. I don't want to be politically correct. Islam hates us. Russia wants to defeat ISIS as badly as we do. We need to work together. We need more sanctions on Iran and more support of Israel. Again, also back to Hillary, she also supports Israel. Some liberals are divided on that issue, but she's also pro Wall Street. Don't forget that. But she believes that Israel was provoked by Hamas in that conflict. Again, some liberals like Bill Maher would be with her on that, but some liberals are completely against that. Back to Trump here, he favors expanding the military. We've spent $5 trillion in the Middle East and haven't gotten nothing. By the way, by the time that is all said and done, it's going to be $6 trillion when you factor in all the veteran health care and everything like that. All freedoms flow from national security. We need to fix the VA. I agree with that. U.S. cannot afford to be the world police. So he actually is, semi-liberal on that issue, but at the same time, it's Donald Trump. So, it's Donald Trump. Believes we need to make voter registration easier. Candidates should have disavow PACs. Super PACs are a disaster and cause dishonesty. He has taken money from super PACs, but not as much as Hillary. I personally do think he would actually do something on that issue. He wants to avoid foreign entanglements. He actually does. Better than Hillary on this issue. He believes that we need to support Russia, but they need to bash ISIS. We need to support Israel, but at the same time, he did oppose the war in Iraq, even though originally he was for it. He overall throughout the rest of the war was against it. When push came to shove, he believes going into Libya was wrong. It was a mistake. So he would be slower to go to war with it than Hillary. So I think that overall he is better than Hillary on that issue. He is opposed to prioritizing green energy. He believes climate change is a hoax, and it's incredible how slow we're drilling for oil. Again, completely in the bubble on that issue. Climate change is not a hoax. I could get into a big discussion on that. He believes we invested in solar panels and it was a disaster. Windmills are destroying shorelines all over the world. Again, all of these talking points you hear from the right. Marijuana is a gateway drug. He actually opposes that. He thinks we need to study legalization but not legalize yet, even though he does agree to medical marijuana. Actually, back in 1990, he said drug enforcement is a joke. Illicit drugs need to be decriminalized. So, I think, personally, he said he never drinks, smokes, or does drugs. And he actually said it once, legalize drugs and use tax revenue to fund drug education. So I actually think he would do something on that issue, unlike Hillary Clinton. There are issues Trump is better than Hillary on, but Trump overall is much more fascist in his ideals than Hillary is. So those are your two main party candidates. Now, obviously, as you know, we have other candidates such as Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. Let me get into them for you guys. So Gary Johnson first on the issue of abortion. He believes the law of the land is Casey versus Planned Parenthood, and he'd keep it in place. He thinks Planned Parenthood does do a lot of good, but he also does not believe in any funding for abortion, no federal funding for stem cell research. He believes it's the right for the woman to choose up to the viability of the fetus, which is about week 20 or so. So I actually am right with Gary Johnson on that issue. I'm a moderate on that issue, and so I think he does a very good job there. Strongly favors being comfortable with same-sex marriage, supports gay couples, doesn't believe that bakers should deny a wedding cake to same-sex couples. That one's very interesting because libertarians are actually divided on that issue, and he is a libertarian. He opposes expanding Obamacare, believes that the U.S. needs a free market approach to healthcare and not government. He also he favors prioritizing Social Security, raising the retirement age to 75. That's, I believe, as the law is today, about a 10-year increase. That is crazy. In my opinion anyways, that's coming from a person who is overall more libertarian than not. Let's see what else we got here. He's for the voucher system, school vouchers. Most outspoken governor in the country on school choice, wants to end the Department of Education, give every student in New Mexico vouchers worth $3,500. That was back when he was governor. Competition would make our schools better and is against Common Core. Opposes stricter punishment, reducing crime, completely against stop and frisk, believes it's unconstitutional, believes men of color are 4 times more likely to end up behind bars. When it comes to drug crimes, that is actually true, but when it comes to stuff like all other crimes, it's actually pretty much the same. But on drug crimes, he is correct.